drink, but
Good morning, my Strega family! Hey, everybody. I'll wait for some motherfuckers to join! It's 6:30 in the morning, 6:40 in the morning. I don't know if she's gonna get mad at me for saying, but no, why would she get mad? My wife's took care of the baby a little bit last night, so I mean we both took care of the baby, but she's like limited in walking right now until she gets a little bit better. She rolled her ankle, my poor baby. So last night I really couldn't do a live stream. I was supposed to do a reading as well. I had to schedule it for today. So yeah, I got a reading to do at like 12:30 today, after lunch. I'm off today, so we're gonna do a live stream as well. Right now I had to drive and go give blood work. I haven't done blood work in a long time. I hate doctors, everybody. I hate them. I hate dentists. I hate dentists, I hate doctors. But that's the one thing that, one of my flaws is the dentists and doctors, because I hate going. I always had this thing where I'm like, why can't, yeah, Jessica, me too. Why can't cavities heal? Why don't teeth regenerate the way they do when you're young? And the way they do with when your nail falls out or your hair gets cut. Your liver is taken. We can regenerate. We have the power to regenerate. The reason why we do using about 2 or 3% of our DNA. We're using like 2 strains or whatever. We have 12 or more or something like that. But I know like they say 97%. Like I'm not a scientist, definitely not a doctor. But I am a spiritual healer. And in my opinion, and it comes natural for me. You know, this is how natural it fucking comes to me. Before I ever read about the occult, I was naturally doing most of the rituals and things that are described in you know, that they're doing. Most of the things I was naturally doing myself anyway. You know, it's so weird when I start reading some things, and I'm like, wow, I was fucking doing that anyway for like the last 10 years. You know, it's just the way I approach things is a very universe, everything. It's weird too, because my natural way to read, you know how we open the book from left to right? My natural way to read sometimes, I want to always go right to left. Like when I pick up a book, the first fucking thing I do is I turn to the back and I start flipping through to the front. It's like it's programmed in my mind from another lifetime or another timeline or whatever you want to call it. Like, you know, so some other timeline I'm used to reading from right to left, like, you know, like they did in the old times, and they still do in Hebrew and other places. Even in Etrusca, that's how you would read, from right to left. The runic symbols and other symbols they use, it would always read from right to left. Your first name, the first letter would start all the way at the end, according to who we are now, all the way at the right, and the last letter of your name would be all the way at the top at the left. So pay attention to little things like that sometimes if you guys can, like little things that you do naturally, and that's keys of who you are. Who you are in other, for a longer period of time, who you were. This thing, this just comes naturally to you. So we're gonna do live meditations. We're gonna do live healing spots. You know, I want to go to energetic locations on our planet, in our psyche, and try to heal that location or cleanse that universal force that's flowing through that. Now there's one guy I know, he's from New York here, Now he's a friend of mine. I don't necessarily agree with everything he believes in, but I do think that there's some contamination that happened in the psyche. And then maybe there's some sort of overlay going on, and that he's tapped into something though. Because I have a friend, Stephen Popiotek. Not a great friend of mine. How is he my friend? Okay, so he lives in New York here, so I've through the circles of New York, I've met him, you know. Now, I don't know how well you guys are familiar with the Montauk Project, but I'm loosely related to the Montauk Project in ways that some of the people that were involved with those experiments also tried to fuck with me. As well as, you know, even my wife, she was actually in Preston Nichols' apartment before. And one of her friends actually sat on that chair naked. I've never been in Preston Nichols' house, but they were trying to get me to go there for a very long time. This was before I'm with my wife now. Me and my wife, we've known each other for 30 years, damn near. I mean, we were in middle school together, 6th grade. But then we lost contact. In high school, we didn't really talk. I was like, not that she wasn't popular or anything. She had her own little, you know, she was just very quiet, very to herself, and I was everywhere. I was a varsity athlete. I was a musician. I hung out with the stoners and the jocks and the cheerleaders and everybody. You know, I was voted like most individualistic, best musician. I was nominated for best looking, this, that, like all this shit, right? So I was like all over the high school, very well known, and she was very quiet, you know, so we didn't really talk too much in high school. But years later, you know, 20 years after high school, we reconnected. So during those 20 years we didn't see each other. You know, that's when she met Preston Nichols, you know, sometime in that clump. So I didn't know her while she went there or talk to her then, but she never really, it was her friend that was interacting with Preston. She just ended up going there one time and being in another room waiting, but she talked to him for a very long time. Now, there was a few people that are involved with that Montauk Project that know about my DNA, been after me since I'm a little kid, and maybe were part of who took me along with the Navy when I was in my 20s, my early 20s. I was held against my will in an underground lockup. I was chained to a fucking huge stone wall, and they were trying to get my blood work. And they had both of my arms with IVs in them, and they could not get blood from me. Yeah, yes. I don't know if you guys ever heard that story. I've told about it before, but I was detained by the Long Beach Police Department, and they picked me up on a military bus from the fucking prison, and I thought I was being transferred to, they called it Wayside, which is part of, I was gonna go to the Wayside and then the Twin Towers, which is all part of LA County Jail. Yeah, they call it Twin Towers, yeah. So I thought I was being transferred to LA County Jail, drugged me or something, because when I woke up, my head was hurt really bad, and I was in and out of consciousness, and I was chained to like what looked like a megalithic fucking wall underground. I definitely was underground. You could tell by the way we were underground with no windows and the way it was bunkered in. You could tell it was underground. And I think I was beneath Catalina Island. I think the Navy have a base out there, and my blood was coagulating when they were taking it. I was gonna hit me with the butt end of the gun, telling me, let's just spill his blood and take it. Fuck him, let's kill him. They couldn't kill me though for some reason. When I was returned back to the courthouse, I tried to tell the judge what happened. I was crying in court. My head had been shaved. I was in a fucking a suit that is similar to what you're putting on Suicide Watch, almost like a paper suit. And I was taken off the street of Long Beach for no fucking reason. They hunted me down with a helicopter. Okay, I started running from the police because they were chasing me. And then before I knew it, there was a helicopter there within seconds. And that's just not, it's not rare because of me. That's what they do in Long Beach. If someone's running from the police, there's a helicopter on you in a fucking second. Whether it's a traffic, you're running from a stop sign, or you're running from a murder, there's fucking helicopter on you in a second. And I couldn't go nowhere. They had me trapped in an alley all the way near Ocean Boulevard. And they had me. So, you know, in fact, my fight or flight kicked in when they approached me, and just goes to show you how evil, my spirit knew how evil they were. You know, usually I'm very cooperative with cops. First of all, I ran from these guys when they pulled up alongside of me and were like, "Where are you going?" And I'm like, "I'm going to my friend's house." They're like, "No, you need to stay right there and get up against the car." So I just started running, right? And then they finally cornered me with the helicopter and all the cops. And as the cops were coming towards me, because I had my hands up, you know, as the cops were coming towards me, I reached in my sweatshirt, and I didn't mean to do this. It was like I was programmed or something. Like something kicked in, because I reached in my sweatshirt and I pulled out a knife to like fight the guy. And as soon as I reached in my sweatshirt and came out with the blade halfway, they were like on top of me and got me, you know, and threw me in the back of the van. And I got booked for, give the guy my name, and he already knew my name anyway. He told me my name, so that's how crazy it is, because I had no ID on me, nothing to show. And I'm from New York, so there's no way they should have known who the fuck I was just on the street. So I got booked for having a concealed knife, and it was an illegal knife because it had a blade on both ends. It was like a knife you grab in the middle and it turns out like, so it was illegal. It was too long of a knife. And I got booked for false impersonation. That false impersonation charge is still open. It's a misdemeanor, and I never took care of it. They ROR'd me that day when I told the judge my story. I think he kind of believed me. He ROR'd me, even though I was supposed to go back for 2 months. I was supposed to serve another 40 days. He ROR'd me, which is you're released on your own recognizance. And I was trying to tell the judge what happened to me, and some people were laughing in the court. I was crying. The judge was like, what he had said was like, whether you're telling me or not is the truth, it does look like you went through some high emotional stress, and I don't think you should go, you know, back to the jail. And he actually released me. So that is not common. All right, he released me because he didn't want me filing no fucking charges or saying anything, because he knew I was a dude. I had fucking bandage on my head. I had to sign a piece of paper that I fell, because I was trying to tell him I was hit over the head, and the nurse was like, "No, you fell. No, you fell." So it's crazy. Oh yeah, because I left out part of the fucking story. That's right. So when I got locked up in Long Beach, before they transported me, I was put in a holding tank with like 20 other people. This is when I first was arrested. They brought me to Long Beach. They put me in a holding tank, which was like all these other people were there. And I was there for a long period of time. So I took a toilet paper roll and I laid on the floor, and I put the toilet paper roll as a pillow behind my head, and I was laying on the floor. So some Mexican guy came out and kicked the toilet paper roll out from underneath my head and said, "I want that as my pillow." And I got up and was fighting with him. We were like shoving each other, pushing each other. There was like a huge fight going on. His friends were coming around me, and instead of the cop coming in there and stopping the other guys, they came over in there and hit me behind the head with a flashlight or something. I didn't see exactly what I got hit with. but I was hit over the head, and when I came to, I was being dragged to a cell by myself. They threw me in there naked, and overnight they transported me. They told me they were transporting me to the county jail, Wayside, and then the Twin Towers. And I got put on a bus, and I was on a bus where in the middle of the bus there was a gate to separate you from the people in the front to the back. I was all the way in the back. The middle of the bus was this gate, and in the front they had all these adolescent girls in jumpsuits. And I was all groggy and looking at them. They were all laughing at me. Like, it felt like they were laughing at me evilly because I was all groggy and I was coming in and out of consciousness. They were looking at me. But I was taken off the bus, and then that bus continued to go. And those were not adolescent girls going to jail. They were going somewhere else, and they were in weird jumpsuits I'd never seen before. They weren't the color of adolescent jumpsuits, and I don't even remember exactly, but it's very foggy that. But I do believe it was the Navy, because there were guys with machine guns, you know, and they were no insignia on their uniforms. That I remember. But, you know, this is 20 years ago. You know, so I would have been dead at that moment if they wanted me dead. They wanted my DNA. They wanted my genetic memory. And I know this for a fact because most of my life people have been after it. The occult have been after it. 2 weeks ago or so, Duncan Cameron. Now I know Duncan Cameron personally. I met him for coffee before. This guy, so in the last 2 years, the two dudes that were trying to get my DNA most recently are dead. Tells you don't fuck with a Strega, right? No, I'm just kidding. But, so Preston Nichols and Duncan Cameron were highly after my DNA. They wanted my DNA, and they wanted into my consciousness. Voicemail messages from Duncan Cameron. I've showed my buddy Masaki and other people, and they're like, whoa. All right, I have voicemail messages from Duncan Cameron while he's saying, hey, Ra, I really want you to come hang out, blah, blah, blah. I want to take you up to Preston Nichols, blah, blah, blah. All this shit, but in the background, there's some sort of audio technology that hurts your head to listen to. When you start listening to the voicemail, you're like, oh, turn this off. Because in the background, there's a wom, 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 wom in the background. And it's fucking pretty frightening. All right? It's really frightening. It's something that, like, splits your head in two. And it's really terrifying. And he was trying for a long time he wanted to pick me up and take me up to Preston's house up in it's spelled Cairo, New York. Pronounce it Cairo, New York is where Preston Nichols was living. He died last year. And he had some advanced technology at his house that he was fucking tinkering with. You know, quantum computing and different things. It's called psychotronics. Now, I also know a man called Peter Moon. Peter Moon is an author, a researcher, and into psychotronics as well. Now, I'm not going to say anything bad or good about him. He's a pretty decent author. I've interviewed him several times. Doesn't mean I necessarily believe with all of everybody's opinions and things like this, but this is why I only do limited amount of interviews now. I'm only interviewing people that are directly related to my research and that we can have a productive conversation with. Because when I had John Lear on, it was a mess. It was a great interview, but he didn't want me to talk. I couldn't even, and then this guy, he's kicking heroin, but I found out afterwards. This guy was so all over the place. This motherfucker literally he first makes a statement, says, oh, happy Mother's Day to everybody, all the mothers, you really gotta love your family, you gotta be close to your family, family's everything, right? He makes this whole speech about family. Literally a second after he makes the speech, I said, yeah, you know, I lost my mother in 2011, and when she died, I felt her soul get compressed, and I felt like it shot towards the moon. This motherfucker answers me, are we here to talk about you or me? What the fuck? What the fuck? What? You're telling everybody how they gotta love their mothers and their family, and then I share something about my mother, and then you tell me, why the fuck are you talking about yourself? What are you, fucking nuts, you old miserable motherfucker? It's the Eye of Rasho, not the Eye of Lear, right? Fucking, if I can't interact with you, go fuck yourself. Fuck you, John Lear. Because you look like a fucking reptile. You're an ugly motherfucker, and you don't got anything new. You're using the same information you've been talking about the last fucking 30 years. It was interesting in 1989, but not now. Sorry. I mean, yeah, it was fucking hella interesting when fucking, you know, what's his face? What's the other guy's name? I forget his name now. The one who fucking, help me out here, guys, in the chat. The one who exposed the base. And, oh my god, I'm drawing a fucking blank. He came out with George Knapp and showed about the base in Las Vegas. Showed the UFOs. What the fuck is his name? Mm-hmm. Jesus Christ. Help me out here. I can't his name. Lazar, Bob Lazar. Yes, thank you, everybody. Bob Lazar was drawing a freaking blank. Thank you. Oopsie daisy, I forgot. Yeah, Bob Lazar. Him and George Knapp came out with all that shit with John Lear back in the day. That shit was the shit about the moon. It's interesting, but it's the same fucking shit over and over again. Every interview you hear with me, I'm pretty sure it's a fucking different interview, and I give different information each time. I might repeat some things sometimes, but damn, I coming out with fresh shit. You know, this dude's talking about the same fucking shit over and over again. I mean, there's only how many times can you hear it? So that's the only interview I've ever done that it turned out. I mean, and to me, it was a good interview. I had fucking fun. That was classic. But, you know, it didn't turn out the way I planned. Every other interview, I had a positive interaction with people. But where was I going with this? So, Stephen Popiotek is a buddy of mine. Like I said, he's not a great buddy. I don't hang out with him, but we've met. We talk through messages once in a while. He calls himself a cosmic shaman. Oh, baby, that's my honey. Baby, I'm on my way home. I'm gonna go pick up breakfast actually right now. They say some healing for my honey because she twisted her ankle. My baby's ankle hurts a little bit. She rolled her ankle. And sexiest and most beautiful girl on the planet. That is a fact. That is a fact. Fact. Facts. Facts. All these kids nowadays, they say that, right? Facts. They say it at my job. I'm like, yo, can you, I'm like, yo, that was a tough order, right? That was a tough, you know, or whatever I'm saying at my job, and they're like, yeah, facts. No shit, it's facts. I saw it. I know it's true. Facts. 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 Motherfucking facts. So, what was I gonna say, everybody? Yeah, I'm in a good mood right now. I gotta do a reading at 12:30 today. So, I don't know if we're gonna do a live stream before that or after that. But, dude, I am exciting, my dudes and dudettes. I am excited to introduce my new Golden Healer amulets. And, I gotta order more than them. I think I have like 5 or 6 of the bags left. But I have Golden Healer amulet bags that I'm sending them in. So, if I get more than like 5 or 6 orders in the next several days, then I might run out of the bags, and I'll have to send it to you after. But if you put in an order, you will get a Golden Healer cluster inside a Golden Healer amulet bag, and the amulet bag is bathed in sage. I bathe it in sage smoke, and it's white clary sage that I've blessed, and then I supercharge the Golden Healer cluster, which came fresh from Brazil. and they are not mined the way you think. They're collected by an explorer friend of mine, and they don't pass too many hands. I think they only passed 1 or 2 hands before they got to me. So that's very important to me, that I know the source they come from. And of course, I cleanse the crystal and then charge it. Now, if you guys are going to purchase a crystal from me and you don't want me to put any energy into it, you don't want anything done to it, you just want as is, specify that in the purchase. I'm going to write it on my website as well today, because I forgot to mention that. But no one's requested it yet, but I mean, even if I did charge the crystal with a healing vibration and you wanted to use the crystal for something else, just cleanse the crystal. The only one you can't do that with is kyanite. Kyanite maintains the charge forever. There's something magical about kyanite that way, and it will maintain the resonance, the residual resonance, I think you would call it, the image of your spirit. Now, let me remind you guys, if you guys have quartz towers around while you're having sex, it will amplify that energy and record that within the crystal. So I make sure I store my crystals away. The ones that I do have out, I do cleanse them of anything they might pick up throughout my house, or throughout shipping it. So I'm really careful with what I send out to people. So you know, some people might be apprehensive sometimes. I know people are paranoid, but I mean, think about when you guys buy a crystal from the store at the mall or somewhere like that. You know, my hands are fucking touching that crystal every day. Kids, bad people, good people, all this shit. So getting it from someone like me is the cleanest way. It really is. Me or my buddy Masaki. I mean, I'm sure there's thousands of other people like us out there, but I know me and I know Masaki, so those two I can vouch for. Otherwise, out there, I can't vouch for anyone else. I don't know what they're doing, who they are, what they do with their private time, nothing. But I know who I am, and I know who Masaki is. A stand-up dude. If there's any stand-up dudes out there, I can vouch for Masaki. We've been talking on a daily basis for years now, and he's like my best friend. You know, one of my best friends. My other best friend, he passed away last year, and then he fell in the river and drowned. And there's definitely more to that story. They couldn't even find his body for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that, until it washed up. It was found by a fisherman. That's my buddy James St. James. And we saved each other a lot of times out in Long Beach, California. I miss him a lot, but I know he transitioned, and his spirit's still connected to this physical plane. He has not moved on yet. He's on some sort of mission. Thank you, baby. I love you, Mika. You are my everything. You and Tana are the world to me. Now, everybody, I've talked about a lot of things so far this morning. I mentioned Duncan Cameron. Now, if nobody is familiar with who Duncan Cameron is, supposedly him and Stuart Swerdlow were the only last surviving members of the Montauk Project. Me and Stuart Swerdlow do not talk. Alright, I'm going to keep my opinions to myself about these people, and I'm not going to badmouth nobody online. So I'm just going to keep that to myself, but I'm not saying that these guys might not have some valid information hidden within some of their bullshit. I'm not going to say that they don't have any abilities, because some of them do, especially Duncan. Duncan was highly psychic. Borderline delusional. but highly psychic, went to his head. But I'll tell you what, when Duncan Cameron met me, and I don't have, like, people, I don't know if I come across having, like, seeing like I have an ego, but I do not have an ego at all. It's been shattered, humbled many, many years ago. All right, I might have had an ego when I was like in high school a little bit, but through competing in Muay Thai, through rolling in Jiu-Jitsu, through going to jail, through going through group homes when I was younger, through losing my mother, I've been humbled so many times in my life that I know what I'm capable of. I know who I am. I don't need to prove it to no one. You know, I've been through pretty much everything but death, and I've been through death. I just hadn't stayed there yet. So I've been through everything. So there's nothing they can do to me. There's nothing, you know, I don't have an ego anymore. So I think his ego of thinking how, you know, everybody telling him how psychic he is and this and that, is that Duncan Cameron's ego limited his psychic ability, and it actually diminished it. He was way more psychic when he was younger. As he got older, his ego diminished his psychic ability. Now, when I met Duncan Cameron, all right, now think about this. He's supposed to be one of the most powerful psychics in the world. When I met him, he told me how, he's like, dude, you're like 1,000 more, you're naturally psychic. Like, you're 1,000 more times psychic than I am, he told me. He told me that, what I didn't understand though, he wanted me to look at, he goes, go home, look in the mirror, and you got to adjust yourself to the left. So I didn't understand really what he was talking about at that time. And I do now. I'm not going to really talk about it now, but he was trying to manipulate me so he could so he can invade my consciousness. And he was trying to do this from the jump. Now, he was trying to... Now, I can't say this for sure, but I think Preston Nichols and Duncan Cameron, wow. Hear that hawk? I mean, that crow? There's crows cawing like crazy at the top of that tower right now, ever since I said that. You know where I am right now, right? Wait, let me show you guys right now. I'm on my way to my house to go get breakfast, but guys, right now, I am at Ledgeworth Village. I had to pass it on my way here, so this is one of the most haunted insane asylum complexes in the world. This is called Ledgeworth Village. I think it's been featured on Ghost Adventures and stuff like that before. I don't watch those shows, but this is one of the most haunted complexes in the world. Now, some of it is a golf course. But, so, smash that like button, everybody. Damn. So, guys, listen. I feel, now this is my opinion, and it might not just be the opinion of me, it might be reality, because my whole body tingled when I said it, and I think my wife even was saying it the other day too. Yeah, me and my wife went to a fair on these grounds as well. They have fairs here. So I feel that Preston Nichols and Duncan Cameron knew their life was coming to an end, and they wanted to jump bodies. And I think that's what they were going to use me for. They wanted to jump bodies. They wanted my consciousness and my body. And I think they were trying to somehow hijack my energy, hijack my life force, so they can continue their own lives by stealing my life energy. Because I've been told by any psychic I've ever met in my life, and let me guys, let me tell you a little bit about myself here. Most of my clients that I do readings on are psychics themselves that do readings for a living. Most people that do readings for a living, when they want a reading done on themselves, they come to me or Lori Bruno. When I want a reading done, I go to Lori. So I'm one of those people that I do readings for people that do readings for a living. And anybody who's ever done a reading on me, the first thing they say is how limitless my life energy is. How much energy, how much life force that I have inside of me. And my daughter has that. And the thing is that Mika, my wife, is highly psychic and high life energy as well. So the two of us make super babies. All right? We are, that's why my baby is heavily protected at all times. There's a shield of crystals, a shield of tools, a shield of pyramids around us at all times. And, you know, if I have the financial capabilities, I'm going to homeschool Tana. My little baby Tana Rain. And Tana is an ancient Etruscan star goddess. They called the Tanara clan the star witches, the star shaman. There's whole covens dedicated to the worship of Tana, the goddess of the stars. The river of Tana is the Milky Way. To me, it is the most beautiful name in the world. And it signifies everything that is a woman and a goddess. Because women, they are goddess. They are goddesses. They literally create life through their stargate. You come through the stargate of a woman, and then you have a portal. You literally have a portal between your legs. Literally have a portal. You have a stargate. So I'm seeing what kind of energy I pick up right here, right now, and the best way I know how to cleanse an area is by bringing positivity to it. So the way I bring positivity is through my music and through now you guys, I don't know if you've gone far enough on my channel, but if you look on my playlists, I have some of my acoustic performances. Now, I used to travel in a band. I'm a professional musician. I supported myself for many years by just playing guitar. I was a street musician as well. I don't talk about music that much, but if you guys listen to my Eye of Ra show on Truth Frequency Radio, the music that you hear in between breaks, that's yours truly right here. Me and my buddy Ricky Rodriguez wrote all the music that you hear on my show on Truth Frequency Radio. I'm bursting with crazy. Thank you, my love. And so are you. Guys, you know, Mika, you guys, she's going to be more, you guys are going to get more familiar with her over the next, over the next years as we progress and as we do this and as we do our healing meditations. But Mika is a ball of energy. She is a ball of energy. I mean, when she's in a good mood, she can light up the world. She moves with this, the way even she moves can just like hypnotize you and enchant you. You know, when she's in a positive mood, that positivity spreads, and I love when she's like that. She makes like circular waves of goodness everywhere. You know, we have this in it, we have this in us, all of us. And when we make creativity, whether it's Masaki making pyramids with his own hands, creating his art with his own hands and sending that throughout the world, look at how creepy this world, or me making music, or you making art, or writing a poem. I mean, you're tapping into a universal force of energy that is limitless. Look how creepy this building is here too. I mean, they don't even take care of these beautiful stone buildings. They're letting them all go to shit. They're all boarded up. I mean, literally, there's like 150 of these buildings like this throughout a 3 or 4 mile complex. I mean, it's even connected to the Catholic retreat grounds that I go to. Some of their buildings are even back there, and that's like a couple of miles away. So let's see if we can heal this energy a little bit this morning. Now, guys, my axe of choice for acoustic is the Ovation. I have a few really nice guitars, but my acoustic electric that I like is the Ovation. The Ovation is one of the best acoustic electric guitars you could buy, and this is my baby right here. My baby when it comes to guitars, you know. So this looks like a good enough tree as any. Let's see what we can do here. Let's see what kind of energy we can make here. People might look at me like I'm crazy. I'm not gonna really sing right now, but I think the guitar, because the singing is gonna drown out the music a little bit. But let's make some little bit of hard guitar, but something that's got some force and energy to drive away any bad energy around here. Let's do this. This just makes it. We're gonna do something. We're gonna make something up. Oh man, my house is getting all grassy. They just cut this grass here. The stain. If I get a grass stain, it's gonna be a tribal wound. It's gonna be a tribal scar, right? So let's do this today. This is called, what are we gonna call this? Strega Live. Let's see what. All right, let's see what we got here. Forgot what I was doing that first word. So yeah, we clearing the energy here, baby. We clearing the energy out this morning. So guys, stay tuned, because we live here on YouTube today. We got the axe to cut down the dragons and spiral out